All right, the U.S. economy created 261,000 jobs in the month of October. Let's get more of a pulse on the jobs market with U.S. Labor Secretary Marty Walsh. Marty, always good to see you here this morning. Your take on these jobs numbers?
I mean, certainly they're good job numbers with low unemployment. I like seeing that every month. And what we're starting to see, I think, is nice, a slow, steady growth in our economy. And I think that we're not getting certainly the slowdown that a lot of people want to see or alleging they need to bring the inflationary pressures down. But I think we are starting to see slow, steady growth as we move forward here.
Do you believe that we'll see more people come back into the workforce, those who have perhaps sat on the sideline for one reason or another, whether that's childcare or whether that's the coronavirus pandemic and workplace issues, whatever that may be, that they'll start to come back into the workforce if we do see a deep recession or at least a more pronounced recession?
I think we'll definitely see more people go back into the workforce. I mean, there's lots of job openings in the country right now, and we were talking about that this morning. What I want out of the office and BLS is to see where the job openings are, and when you think about job openings, the largest job openings in our country are in lower paying jobs. They're in hospitality industries, and yet we're starting to see people come back into the workforce, and they have higher skills and degrees, and they're looking to get into better paying jobs. So right now, as we move forward here, we got to make sure we're partnering jobs with people and what their ability to do is. And I think that's something that we have to really think about moving forward. At least that's what I'm thinking about moving forward here at the Department of Labor.
Marty, maybe some of those people going into these jobs will be laid off software engineers. I don't know, because we're hearing about, or people who are looking for a job in that sector, and there's not that job anymore. We're hearing about a lot of tech companies that are either cutting or freezing hiring right now. There's just a report that Elon Musk, now that he owns Twitter, is going to cut 3,700 people there. I know that you had talked to Musk in the past regarding his build out in Texas for Tesla. Now he's cutting jobs in his other business, in his newly acquired business. I'm just curious what you think about that sort of flow of jobs there.
Well, certainly, one thing in this jobs report that's not reflected yet in this, and certainly I'm keeping a close eye on that, because I think the tech sector in the United States over the last several years certainly has grown, and those are good paying jobs, and those are jobs that are in lots of cities like Austin, Texas, Boston, Massachusetts, out in New York and Chicago, places like that. So I have to dive into that a little more. We haven't seen, I don't think, a lot of layoffs yet, but there's been lots of talk of layoffs and freezing hiring. So certainly that's something that would concern me, because they are good paying jobs, and a lot of states and cities and places around the country have built out expansion in their cities, where they're building new housing, things like that, is for this exact sector, this tech sector. So it's something that I'm interested in. I'm going to dive more into, and certainly offering right now to any tech company out there anything that we can do at the Department of Labor to help you and assist you. I'd love to do that. As far as Twitter, I mean, that's a whole different situation. I think that's I don't know enough about it, but I think that's Elon Musk and looking at the business model, and I'm sure at some point that will fix itself out as it moves forward.
While we have you, we do know that there's been a move from New York City, this recent, of course, in the salary transparency that's come forward. And regardless of what start it's gotten off to, I think there is still this broader recognition that there can be more room for salary transparency that is beneficial to both the employee and the employer. What would you like to see on that front, as New York City's already rolled this out, but perhaps where some other cities and states could also have that type of transparency that leads to a more healthy employer-employee relationship and kind of reduces some of the parity issues in pay scale?
Yeah. Well, we did that in Boston. When I was the mayor of Boston, we had 200 companies in the city that gave us the pay data, and anonymously we're able to dissect it and really work on pay equity and making sure that women and men were paid the same. We made some really good gains in the city of Boston. It wasn't heavy-handed. The companies came to the table. These are the large corporations, and I think having these conversations are really important, and coming up with policies moving forward are important. It was successful in the city of Boston. They're still, hopefully, still doing it in the city of Boston, but in other places. It really is about having these conversations, and not just in pay equity and transparency, but also in leadership of companies and getting women on boards and things like that. All of those, those are important aspects of growth and moving forward. Legislation is passed often about pay equity. Women shouldn't need legislation to be paid the same as a man. Women should be paid the same as a man for doing the same exact work, and that's something that not just elected officials but CEOs of companies should work on. With 2022, the time has come to make equity in the workplace consistent.
Mr. Secretary, this jobs report, it just continues a string of really solid to strong labor market reports, but it comes against the backdrop of slowing or declining productivity in this country. Do you think the hustle culture this country was founded on is just done?
Yeah, I went up. My economist yesterday went over that with me yesterday, and I was trying to get a good reason on how we measure productivity in the United States of America, and I think that we're still working through that. I mean, I think that productivity in America is strong. I think that when the terminology of quiet quits came up or all of that happening, I never heard it in the communities. I haven't heard it when I was out there talking. I think American workers are still working strong. They're working, getting pay. I've been on a lot of construction sites. I've been in a lot of manufacturing facilities. Those workers aren't slowing down. Those workers are working hard. So I think that, again, I don't know enough about the data. I don't think the data is as consistent or as strong as it should be to really tell the true story of American workers.
All right, I'll leave it there. U.S. Labor Secretary Marty Walsh, always good to see you. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.